What's good? Good morning. Got the coffee and I'm ready to go. Let's take a trip to your favorite website, middlemaga.com, where we have a blog up. Yeah, think of that. How crazy is that? It's been a minute since I did a blog. This is the website, middlemaga.com. On here, you will see uncensored videos. I'm going to get to the topic of Ralphie in a second. The good and the bad of Ralph Norman. These green ones are Rumble videos. So these are all Rumble. I'm highlighting the uncensored Rumble videos. So if you want to see if I dropped anything, this one is Rumble only, Rumble and locals. So check it out. If you go up to our blog, you'll see, oh my goodness, I'm trying to use the blog. Having fun with this. And this is a very touchy topic right now. Representative Ralph Norman wanted Trump to declare law. Let's take a look at it. Going into the website here, basing my response, it's just a little bullet point type thing. I didn't write anything big up. This is based on an article from this outline, this website, Talking Points Memo. And they're the ones that did this article. And Talking Points Memo obtained over 2,300 text messages that Meadows, who was Don Dada's last chief of staff. If you don't know, chief of staff's is the gatekeeper. They make sure that anything that gets to the president is filtered, so the president has minimum exposure. And that's where these text messages I'm going to talk about, they were going to Meadows. They got these through this What did you say? Pause. Through this committee, the committee. I don't want to do too much post-editing. Through this committee. And today they published some tweets. Here's a tweet. Not a tweet. I'm doing a video that has nothing to do with Twitter, and I'm still talking about Twitter. Norman is a congressman. He is South Carolina, 5th District. This is after all the stuff went down in the year that I can't talk about the process of how we chose our people to lead us and represent us in D.C. I can't really honestly talk about it here. In that same time frame, Norman tweeted the gatekeeper of the president, Meadows, and said, texted Meadows and said, Mark, in seeing what's happening so quickly and reading about these legal issues, attempting to stop any meaningful investigation, we are at the point of no return in saving our republic. Our last hope is invoking law. Now, everybody wanted to clown him for the misspelling. I think that's a mistake I've made before. I on the last video, I did the your mistake. Let's get past that, okay? Let's get past that. I know you want to clown him because he spelled Marshall like it was Marshall from Paw Patrol. It's Marshall, not Marshall. We get it. Please urge the president to do so. And I do voice to text a lot, and sometimes they mess up stuff like that. So that is what he texted to Meadows in private. These are text messages that have no business being disseminated to anybody. So behind the scenes, I put a lot of stock into that. How do I look at you behind the scenes, like when nobody's watching and he did not expect anybody to see that text message? What I would say, Mark, is that you're Ralph Norman, you sent that message to Mark to get to the president. Now, I am not for Marshall, but let's talk about real quick before I go into a little bit more. What is martial? I don't really know what it even means. I mean, generally speaking, it means the military takes over and the Constitution, all laws are gone away. They're suspended. That's what I would define it as. The military is running things, which is not a good thing. So don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm looking for. But, if you look at martial law, it says, what is martial law? This is the Brennan Center. In the United States, law usually refers to a power that in an emergency allows the military to take the place of the civilian government and exercise jurisdiction over civilians in a particular area. Now, why would I want this? You don't want this, because that would be like taking what the FBI does and amplifying it to a million degrees of power. These are people who are anti-Trump, anti-you and me. This would be the final straw to turn us into what they're doing across the seas in Asia, basically beating down. That's what it would turn us into. And that wouldn't be illegal. There wouldn't be any law other than their law. But martial law has no established definition, because across history, different people have used the term to describe a wide variety of actions, practices, or roles for the military. If you think giving the military unfettered power is a good idea, you might want to rethink that position. The law governing it is complicated and unsettled, and as a result, the concept has never been well understood. So that's going to be, remember that for my final takeaway. But here's where I was disappointed. Ralph, was this supposed to make you look bad? It makes you look based. I'm not for martial law even after the fortified process, but that is how serious things were. That things were so serious, all options had to be reviewed, including up into secession. The same people who fortified it are now trying to demonize the few people who had courage to speak out in the moment. And I'm going to knock Ralph, because Ralph, if you really were about that life, if those text messages came out, then I would say, let's talk about it. You want to relive it? Then let's relive it. You can't even talk about it openly on the big tech platforms. The issues that we saw. They reached him, Ralph's office, on cell phone. Norman asked this website for a chance to review his messages before commenting. Okay, fine. It's been 2 years. Send that text to me and I'll take a look at it. They forwarded to him a copy of it calling for law, and they had not received a response, to my knowledge, as of this recording, December 12th, or is it 13? December 13, Tuesday. I haven't seen a response from him. This is your opportunity. This reminds me of after you go, Marjorie Taylor Greene went and spoke at a Nick Fury event. And then after the event, they asked her, well, why did you go to the event? And she stumbled and bumbled. If I went and spoke at a Nick Fury event, which I would, without question, I would love for someone to ask me why I spoke at a Nick Fury event, because I could reiterate the things I talked about. Her speech, which I played on this channel with edits, or maybe it was this channel, I think. I have it on a video on YouTube. It was a great speech. And they fell out now. Nick Fury went ham on her. But my point is, Ralph, you were based, you weren't wrong. Why are you hiding? Now I'm questioning did you do those text messages just as like a fake virtue? Why would you hide? Let's talk about it. These are the problems that we had. I'm not trying to relive it. Let's look at it now. Let's look at the problems we're having. The problems we had then are representing or replicating themselves in Arizona. So let's talk about it. These people aren't real people. When you're given the opportunity to release, you don't even have to talk to this outlet. You can release your own message and say, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. We need real people in office. These are the type of people that Ben Shapiro and others call crazy and kooky. Ben, go have a talk with anybody, Ben, anyone you talk, or anybody out there who's like, we need a polished, electable type person. Don't say that unless you name names and then offer to have a discussion with those people. I'll end with this. Why isn't the takeaway from this? For me, the takeaway is Ralph was fake, because he's not taking this opportunity. Maybe he's bought out. He can't do it because he's worried about it. How can you not articulate this stuff? Because you're not a real person. But the other takeaway is, why wouldn't we work to clarify what the hell is martial? Hey! Notice they're not talking about, they didn't do a side article like, they're back here talking about martial. Hey! Maybe we should clear up what that is. Maybe we should rein in the powers of that potentially happening. Now, if you get to that point, you just throw the Constitution out the window. But it can't hurt to say, here's what we have within our parameters, a federal law, amendment, whatever needs to happen. You know why? Because they want to reserve, if the same thing happened in the process that I can't talk about right now, happened to these deranged people that actually attack the populist right, if the same thing happened in their minds, they would want the option of martial law open to them. That's why they're not talking about it from the standpoint of, well, what are we going to do about this martial law thing? If you go to the middlemaga.com homepage and click on community at the top right, you will be taken to our Discord. We're having interesting topics and of discussion on there. Shout out to Omar01, who's brought up some really good topics on there. And most recently brought to my light this situation here going on. And I don't know what state this is. What is this? So there's a woke school board treasurer who refused to vote for a white male candidate in Pennsylvania. And there's so many signs of the society falling that if it falls, there should be no surprise. So I have to read that article more, but it looks wild. But also, got others discussion. You might have heard noise in the background. Omar 001 was like, hey, did you have a pet playing with the toy in the background of this video about Ye? I was like, yes, I have a border collie who is just insane. He said, show me pictures. I was like, yep, about to take him for a walk. He's sad because I'm editing videos instead of walking. And here's what a sad border collie looks like. If you want to join the discussion, join us up on the Discord, having a lot of fun. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think about Ralph. Do you think Ralph is out of line? Do you think he was based? Either way, I'd like to hear a comment. I don't like this no comment stuff. Take care.